Welcome and welcome back to my channel. I'm Amanda and today I'm playing along with Follow a Sketch February and Rainbow Crush. This is the sketch from Follow a Sketch and this is from Spreedy Scrapper. And for Rainbow Crush with Tara the Paper Snob, the color is red. And so the challenge with Rainbow Crush is to use 75% of your layout in that color. So I pulled out some of these red pieces of paper and I thought that top one was gonna work okay, but it's a little more orangey than I had anticipated. And so I wanted a true red, not that's an orangey red. I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm gonna cut circles with this circle cutter, which I am not the biggest fan of, but this is what I've got right now, so it is what I'm gonna use. And yeah. Doop doop, cut that one out, and then I'm gonna look at it and look. I'm gonna cut this piece down. This is 6.5 by 8.5, I think. The dimensions were on the sketch that the Stake Goddess has set up in Scrapping Reflections on Facebook. That will all be linked as well, and I don't know what I was doing when I was cutting this, but I was not thinking it through. So I think this is 6.5 by 8 or 6 by 8. I think it's 6.5. And I decided the colors that I had were not going to work. So I picked out some other ones that I think are going to work better. So this heart page is from, I think it's Echo Park and Truly, yours truly. And so I'm going to use these as my circles. And so I'm just going to try and get that 4-inch circle out of here now. And the first one works okay. And then the second one, because I have to rotate it a little bit, doesn't put the holes in the paper. And I do have a little bit of adhesive in the center to try and keep it sticking, and it's not. So I'm just going to fussy cut it out because I was frustrated. This is faster. So that's going to go away. Those are pretty cute. The red in it matches that very vibrant red for the background that I'm doing. I did not do a close-up of the picture, but the picture is of my youngest at a I think it was Nan and Papa's 50th anniversary, so her great grandparents. And this is one of my husband's cousin's boyfriends. That's a mouthful to say. And now he's married to her, so that's wonderful. But this was before. And so Evie wanted to dance, and she was very particular that it wasn't going to be her dad or with me. She was going to ask someone to dance. So she went and asked Garrett, and Garrett was so kind to oblige her. And so he danced on his knees for her. What a sweet man. So, anywho. So I'm trying to cut this paper. This is not traditional scrapbook paper. This is some paper that my mother-in-law gave me like eons ago, and I'm very slowly using it, but it's like handmade paper, and so it's really thick, and my trimmer is having a hard time cutting into it. So the first one I had to like turn over and go through the back, and then this I'm doing 3 times. And then I'm going to cut down my photo, so I think it's 4x4, and then this is going to be, I think it's 5x5, to give like lots of that red. And then this I'm going as, I think it's 4.25. So it gives a little bit of white to make it pop, but still has that red, because I do need a matting piece for underneath this. So I thought, why not the red that I really want to use. And this red is a very good representation of that dress that Evie has on, and it was the favorite dress for both my kids. So I got it at a second-hand place for, I think it was like $10, and they literally wore it out between the two of them. So my oldest wore it until she literally could not get it on anymore. And like the last time she wore it was so tight, and she's like, Mom, this hurts. I'm like, yeah, but the dress is too small, sweetheart. And she's like, but it's my favorite. So she's like, oh. So she gave it to her sister, and her sister loved it too, until the point where they literally wore it out. Like, it was fraying at the edges. They wore it to anything dressy that we had. They wore it to school. Like, it was their favorite thing to wear. So yeah. So then this stripy piece is going to go on. And there's a little bit of pink in it and a little bit of red in it and some gray. But the pinks and reds and grays are from the same collection as the heart paper is. So it goes really nicely. And then I think that background flower paper was either a close to my heart paper or a Stampin' Up paper. I'm not positive which, but that's fine. Then I picked some letters out, so I'm going to use these ones because I thought they'd be fun, and I'm just going to call it Dancing Girl because why not? And so this is going to go in a similar spot as, actually the same spot as the sketch. So right now, other than my photo being smaller and double matted, I'm sticking pretty close to the sketch. And the G, and then I only have one of the small I's, so I'm going to use, just double checking I can spell out girl in this letter set because I didn't, and there's enough room. So I'm just going to snip off the J and make it an I, and nobody will know the difference. And then a little R, and that C looks massive, but it is the little C. Just kind of funny, but, and the title is on, which is a little shiny, but oh well. And then I'm going to use my Nuvo drops and do the dotted feature that's in the sketch. And I should have waited until I had everything else done, but I didn't. And so you know where this is going to go. I definitely do some smudging on the bottom that I literally am going to have to cover up eventually. Not yet. I'm like really careful for a good portion of it. And then I just tapped them so that they were nice little round ones, and those came out like super nice and super small. And then I decided I definitely needed more, so I pulled out my red bin. So those flowers are going to go so nice. And then I'm just looking for something else. So this adorable can be here, and that is super cute. And then pulling these off, trying to decide where I want them. Oh, at least the two. I'm gonna look through there a little more. Thought heart, nope, nope, nope. Put that aside. I'm gonna poke the holes for the brads that are in those flowers and get this adorable on. And still doing okay here. And then I was gonna poke it with my piercer. I'm like, that's not gonna work. So I've got that. I'm going to get this in okay without smudging. I was so close. There, I smudged right there. And I'm going to do it again, but just smudged it a tiny bit. I'm like, that'll be okay. And then, yeah, it is what it is. I cover it up. So just trying to figure out, I want these 3 flowers on. I know I don't want them in the same spot where the buttons are in the sketch, just because I don't want it over on the picture where it shows. So, and then I'm going to put this one right underneath, right there. went right through my piercing foam. And so that's okay, but I have, in the meantime, really smudged. And so I'm looking for a label because I do want to put a little bit of the story on here. And so this one I thought would be pretty good. That bottom one is smudged. And I don't know if I show you or if I edited out with, I did a little bit of playing around with some different, there, that's when I smudge it. And then, so I'm thinking I wanted to put it there, but I pulled out the smaller one and I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to try it here. So I do the journaling and then I smudge my ink. So I go to put it on and I've already smudged the ink. I'm like, can I just be patient for 1 minute? So I'm going to use this bigger one. And I let it dry before I played with this. And so I'm just double checking where I want it. It is going to go on the bottom here. And yay, had patience. And then I want just something else on the bottom here. So I'm back in my red drawer, just taking a look at different things. I'm not super happy with, nope, don't want those. I'm like, what else? Can I find something? Nope, not that one. It just wasn't the right sentiment. It says today. It wasn't the right color. It wasn't the right, it just didn't tie stuff together. And then I'm going to find a brad in silver with the red inside that I totally can use. And so it's going to just go on the bottom of that journaling. And the journaling says, you wanted to dance, so you asked Garrett. Garrett danced on his knees for you. And so that's the close-ups and still shots. Rainbow Crush has a playlist, so it'll be linked below. Follow a Sketch February also has a playlist, which I'll link below, and I will link both Facebook groups as well. Thank you so much for being here today. If you'd like, subscribed and commented, that would be wonderful. Thank you and have a wonderful day.